We now commence the first session of this forum, addressing air pollution in Northeast Asia, where we are and the way forward. Allow me to briefly introduce our participants for session 1. We have a moderator and a panelist present here, and 2 panelists participating online through Zoom. Our moderator for session 1 is Dr. Xiaohui. She is Deputy Head of East and Northeast Asia Office at UNESCAP, and she's present here. I'd also like to introduce the panelists for session 1. Dr. SHIM Changsub, Chief Research Fellow at Korea Environmental Institute. He's here with us in person. Participating online from Bangkok, Thailand, we have 2 panelists. Ramlal Verma at Regional Resource Center for Asia and the Pacific, Asian Institute of Technology. Mr. Bert FABIAN at Secretariat of Asset Deposition Monitoring Network in East Asia. Mrs. Xiaohui and Mr. Dr. SHIM Changsub, please come to the stage. Ms. Xiaohui, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, MC. Good afternoon, everyone. As MC has introduced, my name is Xiaohui. I'm the Deputy Head of the East Asia Sub-Regional Office of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. Thanks to Ms. Han Mingyang and Mr. Gambold, who have introduced the challenges of our sub-region in terms of air quality issues, and also the existing sub-regional cooperative mechanisms existed here. So for our session, the first session, which is addressing air pollution in Northeast Asia, where we are and the way forward, which is going to set in the stage for this afternoon's discussion. Without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Dr. Ramlal Verma, who is an air pollution expert with more than 18 years of the working experience on various environmental issues, including air pollution in the Asia region. He has been working with the Regional Resource Center for Asia and the Pacific, Asian Institute of Technology based in Bangkok for more than 11 years. And apart from research on air pollution related issues, most of his work involves the management and implementation of projects and programs on regional air pollution issues, including intergovernmental regional networks. So, Dr. Verma, the floor is yours. Please present your slides.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you well.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're checking the slides. Yeah.
How about the slides? It's okay?
We haven't seen the slides yet.
I already started sharing.
Now it's okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me this very important forum on the transboundary of air pollution, and it's very challenging issue these days for not only Northeast Asia, but for all Asian region. So thank you for inviting me, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Korea, for giving me a opportunity for presenting some of the work which I did. Basically, last year I drafted a review paper on the BATs or similar concept on air pollution control and management in Northeast Asia for the UNESCAP, Northeast Asia office. So my PPTs will be from that report. So let me start with the air pollution trend in Northeast Asia. So if we there are 5 countries in Northeast Northeast Asia region. Start from China. So let me present the air pollution trend or in Northeast Asian region in all 5 countries. So in China, China is operating more than 2,100 air quality monitoring stations in their network. So the data from all the air quality stations showed, like from 2014 onward to 2020, that all the pollutants are reducing. Their concentration are decreasing over the years, and the lower panel of the same Chinese is show that the percentage of cities complying with the standards are increasing year by year. So it's really a commendable job which China is doing. Similarly, Japan is operating more than 1,800 the monitoring stations in the country, and the data shows that the particulate matter PM 2.5 or SPM are decreasing. All other pollutants, for example, SO2, NOx, also decreasing, but the oxidants are somewhat stable or a little bit increasing. So this is some kind of concern in this region, the oxidant, for example, the ozone. In Korea, which also show a decreasing trend from 2019 onward until 2019, see all the particulate matter concentration and the lead. Only the COs remain stable and other pollutants are decreasing, except the ozone, which is showing increasing trend. In Mongolia also, the particulate matter is decreasing from 2014 onward. But SO2 is showing increasing trend in the Ulaanbaatar. In case of Russia, since I do not have much data, but it shows that the overall the pollution emissions are remain stable or somewhat increasing, and SO2 is showing decreasing trend, but the NOx is increasing. So overall, the the air pollution trend in Northeast Asia is decreasing in most of the countries, but increasing ozone concentration in Korea and Japan is a matter of concern. Similarly, in Mongolia, SO2 is increasing, which is also a matter of concern. And in Russia, SO2 emissions are showing an increasing trend. So this is a report published by OECD, which is based on the GAINS model simulation, keeping the 2022 a base year. We showed that in Japan, Korea, China, the emissions are decreasing in both the scenarios, like current policy measures being taken by 3 countries and the domestic police action, which means that if the countries are further stringthening the policies. So in both the scenarios, the concentration of the pollutants are decreasing in all 3 countries, which is a really good sign for our region. Further, the report also identified the sectors from which the pollution will be reduced. I will not go through each graph, but it shows that the policies which implementing in these 3 countries are really showing a good result. Even when there is a emission scenario is concerned. So, okay. So let me go through the important policies which these countries are implementing. For example, the China has established non-binding guidelines on available technology for pollution prevention and for control. to provide a guidance for enforcement of emission limit values. China also enacted a pollution protection law, which provide an incentive to the pollution emission entities. There is one good example of which could other countries could follow. That the China has a 5-year time binding targets to reduce the pollution, which is really a good initiative by China to reduce the pollution level by certain time, and to identify and bring advanced clean technology. China established a Blue Tech Clean Air Alliance, which promote the new and financially viable technology to reduce air pollution. In case of Japan, Japan has introduced the air pollution law, through which the VOC emission reduction are proposed, so that the ozone ozone level could be reduced. Japan also introduced a zero emission strategy, which mainly focusing on the CO2 emission, but other pollution also targeted. And this is the strategy is the zero basically carbon emission by 2050, which also focus on the salt-like climate pollutants. Japan also started hydrogen power buses in the cities, and they adopted the economically achievable BATs in power general sector. In Korea, Korea has established the integrated control of the pollutants discharging facilities to promote the development of environmental technologies to reduce emissions of pollutant. Korea also developed a BAT reference documents for 13 industrial sources, and they associated those BATs with the emission limit values. Korea make very good comprehensive plan for fine dust management to reduce the PM 2.0 level. This is very an ambitious program of the government of Korea. Also to facilitate the emission restriction, Korea also implemented a cap trade system for air pollutant to restrict emissions within the allowance while allowing the industries to trade the surplus allocations. In case of Mongolia, Mongolia has approved a national program for air pollution reduction. There are 50 measures which focus mainly on air pollution reduction from different sectors. Mongolia also enacted a air pollution tax law on air pollutants emitted from coal burning, automobile, organic substances, and other sources. Mongolia banned the use of raw coal to reduce the air pollution in Ulaanbaatar city, and also providing the discount loan for buying the electric appliance so that they will not use the coal in their homes or the special type of home that's called GAIR. Russia adopted a BAT policies to prevent control emissions and develop BATs for 37 types of industrial sources. Russia enacted a law on conducting experiment on establishing quotas for atmospheric pollutants and set a temporary quotas for pollutant emissions for 12 major urban industrial areas. Russia also adopted energy efficient action plan by automated heating control and energy efficiency for this for new buildings. So some of the policies can also be replicated in other North Asian countries. So to way forward and to see the policy, the areas for strengthen regional cooperation and way forward, I just propose some things which can be implemented. For example, identification and management of air sets in the region. So to identify the air sets which have a different kind of pollution emissions, so those air sets can be managed. Identification of BATs for air pollution reduction in the region, including development of regional guidelines on BATs. Establishment of Center for Experience and Information Sharing. Development of regional mechanism for managing emergency during air pollution episodes in the region. And focus on technology transfer and establishment of financial mechanism for assisting the countries. And focus also be given to the capacity building of the countries. And then discussion among countries may be initiated for legally binding agreement on regional air pollution management. So thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. VERMA. Thanks for your presentation, and it shows us some progress made in the sub-region in terms of reduction of certain air pollutants. However, there are also increased concern in terms of the ozone zone concentration increase. And also we can see that the policy measures across the 6 countries in the sub-region, although all towards the same direction, but there are some variations. So thanks for your suggestions in terms of particular areas for cooperation. Now, let me invite Dr. SHIM Changsub, who's the Chief Research Fellow for Atmospheric Environmental Division, Korean Environmental Institute, to give his talk. Thank you.
Thank you for having me today. I want to address the key collaboration issues for improving East Asian air quality. And certainly, you can see the blue sky today. So congratulations. Yeah. And actually, I have been in charge of address the national domestic air pollutant management policy for last about 5 years, including the fine dust management plan. And I'm happy to join today because I have been in charge of those international cooperation issues for several years because there are some issues for COVID, as you know. And but I also revisit this kind of issues. And actually, many people already knew that we actually witnessed significant improvement in key air pollutants like ozone and PM2.5 in East Asia, not only in East Asia, but also very global phenomena after the outbreak of COVID-19 in early 2020. That actually, many experts already at that moment predict, but that actually made us realize the importance of reducing not only the unknown pollution sources, but also the known pollutant emissions and regions from a scientific standpoint. And in East Asia, as you know, in 2010s, there was a historic pollutions actually from China, and there was a huge impact those the pollutant emissions over the not only from China, also to South Korea and the Korean Peninsula, and even to the Japan. And actually, however, as you know, after 2013, there is a huge effort to reduce the pollutant emissions in China, and we also have some plans to manage the fine dust in South Korea as well. And also we noticed that our improvement of air quality after 2015, that probably also some benefits from Chinese effort to improve the East Asia. So now Korea, the PM2.5 concentration, the annual mean concentration is about 18 microgram per cubic meter. And then it was like 2015, for example, the concentration was 26. So there was a huge improvement, as you can see. And now we recognize those improvements is both the impact from the national and domestic like effort to reduce the emissions, and also some benefits of the efforts from China. So that was very promising the trend in these days. And also, in order to manage the PM2.5 reductions, Republic of Korea enact actually there's a huge historic actions, which is a special act on fine dust management. Actually, it started in 2020, which initiating the significant government investment in sectoral specific and regional specific, and also seasonal specific, which is very detailed plan. So we believe that the policy actually start to reduce in many ways. So despite there's some debate, our improvement is due to some aftermath of the COVID-19, and there's some huge reductions in the transportation sectors, but we still believe there is some we have some positive results have been observed. Furthermore, the Korean government, through its third comprehensive air quality improvement plan, which is the longest and highest hierarchies of the air pollution management plan, which is 10 years plan, like 2023 from to 2032, which aims to reduce the annual average of PM2.5 concentration to 12 microgram per cubic meters, which is actually current the US EPA standard. So it sounds like too much challenge, but I believe that this will be achieved through the strong measures such as pollution reductions in the transportation sectors. As we know, we transfer all the vehicles to the electronic and also hydrogen-driven fuels, and also strengthening the total emission cap for large industrial facilities, which is huge. Actually, we plan to reduce 50% compared to the level of 2021 by 2027, and which probably reduce the huge emissions from the industrial sectors. And also the Korean government to control the various unregulated sources. However, our goal need more the impact, because the goals depend on the support of neighboring countries, as you know, which is we depend too much on the level of Chinese, the background, the concentrations. So, we are hoping that China's simultaneous management of greenhouse gas and their air pollution management would be successful. So this is a big condition of our goal to be achieved. So Korean government has initiated the information sharing the expert cooperation in monitoring air quality in the East Asian region through the sustained use of the geostationary environmental monitoring spectrometer, which is SHIM, which is might be the first Korean geostationary satellite to watch the air pollutant, which is great. And we are hoping to contribute air quality information exchange by international collaborating with existing frameworks such as EONET, which is also very great network to inform the variety of the air pollutant and also concentration in East Asia. So looking at it in the era of climate change response, which is also a huge impact already on the current air quality, the key issues for international cooperation in air quality management are described as I'm hoping you can see the monitor. There's 4 the suggestions. The first one is monitoring the volatile organic compounds, VOCs. As you know, the VOCs, why it's important, and VOCs also contain very hazardous air pollutant as well for worsening which is very critical, the reasons for worsening ozone pollution, and also the expert cooperation on these management of VOCs is going to be already, I believe, already important. So there might be the cooperation in sector-specific emission reductions. And secondly, the scientific and technological cooperation to maximize co-benefits by both the greenhouse gas and air pollutant reductions. Korean government also tried to move our management strategy to reduce both greenhouse gas emissions and also air pollutant emissions, but that is not that easy because our government structure have been the separately. So this is very important to maximize those co-benefits. So I think this is one of the very most important strategy. 3, the air pollutant and health related issues linked to climate change, such as worsening air quality due to wildfires. You can already watch how the wildfire is terribly impact on the air quality this year. And transboundary, that's actually the terrible transboundary effect and the impact of ozone pollution due to explosive warming, and predictions of those impacts, including biogenic particles from the terrestrial biosphere and pollen effect. And also I address to manage the short-lived climate pollutant, which is include methane and a lot of halogen compound. And yeah, I skipped the last one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shim, to give us a description of the national policies, which are very specific on the, you mentioned the sectorial specific, regional specific, even seasonal specific. However, we can see that, such strong policies domestically, together with the neighboring countries, strengthen the policies and implementations, particularly China, to control the air pollution has made quite significant impact. As your data has shows, the PM 2.5 has reduced from 26 to 18 per cubic meters, which is a quite significant result. And thanks for all the recommendations for VOC, monitoring VOC and for more scientific and technological cooperation in the sub-region. So now you mentioned the EANet. Our next speaker is actually from EANet. Now let me invite Dr. Bert FABIAN, who's the coordinator acid deposition monitoring network in East Asia. So before he joined EANet, Bert led the UNEP's Sustainable Mobility Unit activities in Asia and the Pacific, having supported more than 15 countries in developing policies on transport, air pollution, and climate change. And prior joining UNEP, he was the transport program manager of Clean Air Asia, which is a nonprofit organization. And he also published and contributed to several books and studies on related issues. Now, Bert, the floor is yours. Can you sharing your slides? Great.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I think it is definitely my pleasure to be here. First of all, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea for inviting us to participate in this important meeting. But perhaps also more importantly, I would like to thank the Republic of Korea for sponsoring this International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. We are now on the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies commemoration. I remember when I started my career in 2001, air pollution was the big issue. So this is not so really thankful, because now I guess many organizations, development organizations, and other stakeholders have renewed interest to look at this issue of air pollution. But let's look back in 2001, 1990s, end of 1990s. Air pollution was already becoming a very big problem. This organization called ENET, Acid Deposition Monitoring Network, it was also started at that time. Sorry, let me just change. It started, established in 2001 as an intergovernmental body to create this common understanding on acid deposition. But also I put in parentheses atmospheric environmental problems, because we must realize that the acidic substances like sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, or NO2 are also the ones that are causing these acidifying problems. I remember then at that time, acid rain was the big issue. Many people were talking about acid rain, its impact in Europe or the Northern Hemisphere, and what it's like in Asia. So fortunately, we have ENET that is taking a look at this issue. It has 13 participating countries, as they are called, 5 in Northeast Asia and 8 in Southeast Asia. In 2021, ENET, the countries decided to expand the scope to explicitly cover air pollution. So that means it is also now working or can work on other issues like VOCs, as Mr. SHIM also mentioned, and it is very important. I also realized this just now or recently, because VOCs, these are like the benzene, benzoapyrene, toluene. These are the carcinogenic substances that are, you can see it in the roadside, in many industries. So actually today, our colleagues at the network center, as they're called in Japan, and focal points in Vietnam, Cambodia, but also the Philippines and Mongolia, are sitting together to discuss this project on VOCs. I note that not many countries apparently have VOC ambient standards. Thailand has specific standards, for example, benzene, and what they are able to do is they can go to the port area or to the places where they know there are a lot of VOC emissions. If ambient concentrations are above the guidelines, or the standards that they have, then they can penalize the industries. But it's apparently not present in many countries. So now with this project of ENET, we hope to be able to also assist many countries on this. In 2021, INET also expanded its scope. It's a project fund mechanism to mobilize resources and partnerships. Because I realized in the past, INET was like a technical network, primarily working together with government to look at these issues. However, now it is also open to many other organizations in order to support activities, which is rightly so because air pollution is a big problem. INET is operating several sites, wet deposition monitoring sites and 54 dry deposition sites. These are like where you have collecting those ambient air concentrations. Also, it's looking at impact on soil and vegetation, forests, inland aquatic environment, and catchment sites. Some of the outputs that I list here, I will not explain it in detail, which I think is quite beneficial for the participating countries. But maybe I would also like to say more so for the low and middle income country members of the INET and possibly others, is the continuous output and guidance on monitoring, ground-based air quality monitoring at the moment, the use of passive air quality monitoring, continuous, this kind of guidance are very important, especially for the low and middle income countries. So having this QA and QC methodologies. But maybe I would also like to emphasize trainings. I also realized that in INET, this is probably one of its best outputs because over the last 20 years, it has been able to support government officials from the developed or the high-income members of INET region, but also and more so the low and middle income. So over the years, there are 10 people or more that are being trained in the technical center in Niigata, Japan. But also now, this year, and again, thankful for the generous contribution as well from the Republic of Korea, NIER is also contributing substantial funds to support these countries that wants to support this kind of training. So now there is a training in the Republic of Korea. Afterwards, there is a training in Niigata in Japan. The training in Niigata, Japan is really focused on the monitoring aspect, like working in the laboratory, having QA and QC processes. And the ones in Korea also includes a more broader air quality management component that looks at, I guess, more advanced technologies, particularly now, the use of satellite remote sensing for air pollution. So in a way, there is a good cooperation within the participating countries, particularly with Republic of Korea, Japan, others that tries to create a more comprehensive type of program. Last but not least, INET, of course, also cooperates or networks, shares experiences with other bodies, particularly the WMO, CLERTAP, and other organizations like Cleaner Asia. All its data sets are also available online. These are static at the moment. We are in 2023, and the data available online is actually up to 2021. It's all downloadable for free. At the moment, as I said, it's all static, but definitely a great resource for researchers and other policymakers that looks at the data and linking data to policy development. This slide is also quite special to me. I also just recently realized this. The reason is, when we talk about acid rain, okay, when we talk about data, I remember when I was starting out, year 2001, and especially my specialty is transport. Most of the time they will say, okay, there is no data in Asia, like it's very difficult, the data is not comparable, quality is very low, etc. I always had faced that, particularly for transport. But in this case for INET, I saw that because the intergovernmental body has this kind of set of data that runs in 2000 or even earlier, I think, and there is quality assurance, quality control from this technical center in Japan, that somehow we have a set of data that is reviewed, endorsed by countries, by governments, that is comparable with the EMEP in Europe and the NADP in North America. So I think this is a very good resource, again, that looks at the historical data of air pollution, but also later on impact on ecosystems, and you can also relate it to health. Last but not least, I think this slide is probably another good resource. The graphs are all in concentration, micrograms per cubic meter. It shows the sulfur dioxide levels in Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia, as well as NOx, or nitrogen dioxide, for Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia. And all the data points are these data points that are monitoring sites in INET. There are many stories that we can tell in these slides, but maybe what I would just like to highlight is, let's look back. 20 years ago, the economic development in China, in Southeast Asia, it's not as high as now. And if you think about the economic rise of China, Southeast Asia, of course, development in the Republic of Korea and Japan, it was very substantial during the last 20 years. And also in terms of population, urbanization, demand for energy. And now you think also emissions. But if you look at the data, like the ambient concentration, and even from the slides of our good friend Dr. VERMA earlier, you can see that ambient concentrations of particulate matter, sulfur dioxide were able to be reduced. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, despite the high economic development in the region, we were able, or the countries were able to reduce or avoid extremely high levels of air pollution. I realize and acknowledge that there are still many problems, but together with participating countries in INET and other organizations, I think we've done a good job in trying to understand and address this issue of air pollution. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Sorry I took a bit more time.
Thank you, Mr. Fabia, for giving us a great description in terms of INET and present us very interesting and solid data.